We have been in Shri Kali now for 4 months, and you can really see the difference between the first few months and now when the practice and the studies go deeper. And the first months were really intense, kind of like the Yoga Alliance certificates studies. And then I think for me, when the studying goes further, then you get a bigger picture. The way of teaching here, I think, is in the way that things come slowly. They drop you some information and then you slowly form a bigger picture. So over the months it becomes very different than in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the huge benefits, for me at least, for staying long term, is that it's kind of also the personal process, the transformation you go through here, and kind of deepens, gets more depth every month, and also as your system balances, you kind of get more stable and everything on a really deep down core level, which feels nice. It comes with the studies, like with the asanas and with everything that we do, and it's really nice to culture that.
And one thing that has come clear to me here is that what I'm doing here is changing a life culture. The life culture that I came from was not sustainable, so I need to rebuild a whole culture for life, and that takes time. It's much more than 1 month or 2 months of yoga and like teacher training. It's very different. It's penetrating all aspects of life in a kind of subtle way that you might even not notice it. I didn't have a word for life culture before I came here, so it's a deep process. It's a really nice and deep process.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Enjoyable most of the time.
Yeah, intense also, but I think being here as a couple is really good. It's really sometimes really intense because you have your own process, but you also have the other person's process, and then you have your relationship process. So it's a lot of things to go through, but it's really beautiful to do it together, and also to have someone really close to you that you can reflect with. Like, would be really, for me, it would be really, I don't know, maybe difficult to be here and go through a lot of changes and kind of processes without him being here and seeing the changes, because then I would go back home and it would be very different. So it's really beautiful to share it, especially when the process is so deep of changing of a life culture.
But like I can compare the time that I was here alone and now that I'm with my wife, it's quite different. It's quite different, of course. Like mainly in a way that the process is more shared with someone, like really on a really intimate level. That you can understand that maybe you share more intimate things with your wife that you normally do in a sharing circle. So kinda, it's for me it's a really wholesome experience. It's something. It's so nice to actually be seen also in this that we do.
And also I think the puja and different practices that we do, they are different when you are here with your partner. Like, you could do them with just another person and it would probably be really nice and beautiful and you could see the concept and the idea, but somehow, at least I think for me, it becomes more practical when it's the person that you actually knew before coming here and it's also the person that you're living with. So kind of the relationship is also changing. And I think also like the whole practice with asana and prāṇāyāma, bandhas, the sexual practice that we do as the long-term students, they change also the sexual aspect of the relationship into a more wholesome way of seeing things. It's not anymore something that maybe we're taught in the Western world, but it's something sacred. And the whole way of seeing the other person changes, and I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. The culture we come from, sex and sexuality, is really highly underlined in a way. Somewhat taboo also, even though it's everywhere. But yeah, and throughout the sexual practices here, it becomes more, at least for me, it becomes like more organic part of the whole thing in a way. It's like, you know, it's nothing more or nothing less what it is, but it's not like there's no, like, you know, there's not huge emphasis on that side in a way that it's like, okay, it's there and to be enjoyed. I don't know.
And also, in a way, in some way, I see it as a part of a whole, like the part of the whole way of seeing the world and the human life and yourself and the other person. Like, in a way, it's underlying everything, but in a way, there's also not the kind of emphasis that we have in the Western world, where everything is advertised with sex or something like that. So it becomes very natural, also, in a very different way than before.
Yeah. Also, like, yeah, I could say more balanced also. The studies of Tantra, they're the kind of studies that actually make sense. It's the more my like understanding grows, more I'm really convinced that this kind of spiritual system is needed in order to have a wholesome view of yourself and of the surroundings. The study of Tantra, it helps a lot with understanding of the, I don't know, of the world. I don't know, of the cosmos. Like, I couldn't say anything less, because it would be kind of like fragmenting. I think like my main question has always been, ever since I was a kid, the main question for me has been like what it is and how does it work. Like wherever I look at, and why things are the way they are, and getting answers to those questions, Tantra, it really helps. The science behind it, it's logical. I can comprehend what the texts are saying, even though it's not the easiest like thing. But with time, you can actually like really understand the concepts, and even with a little struggle, it's really worthwhile doing the struggle with the study. So you really deepen your understanding in a profound level that makes sense. That is something that this is the first place, Shri Kali Ashram is the first place that I find an information set like that it feels really worthwhile studying, because it makes sense. Yeah.
For me, I think one of the biggest things that also has changed is the concept of a system, like a whole system, all in all, like you said, the word profound and like this. So I don't think I had a concept for system before I came here, actually, because that's not available in the modern world. Everything is bits and pieces. I used to go to different workshops and do different things and enjoy them, and I couldn't really see what they lack. I enjoyed them, I felt good after them, but they did not make a profound change in itself. Of course, you can have the process behind, but to study here is to study a whole system, which means that it doesn't need anything from outside. It's in itself every aspect that you need, and it's really new. It's really changing the way I think and the way I see.
Yeah, for all the reasons I mentioned before. So far being in Shri Kali has been the best investment of my time and money that I've actually done. I highly recommend for anyone who is searching for deep and profound spiritual systems to study and is willing and able to commit and involve themselves to the studies. So yeah, at least I recommend it. 5 out of 5. Yeah.
I think the word commitment actually has changed meaning also. I think in the, Western world or the modern world, we often see commitment maybe as something coming from the outside, that we made a commitment to something else. And it has this negative feeling to it, that you're committed so you have to do something. But actually I find commitment to be something really beautiful, something that I chose myself to be in, whether it's marriage or whether it's your studies or commitment to yourself. It's something that comes from within.
True.
And yeah, I really feel committed to my studies, and it is worth the commitment. It is worth for yourself, and it's worth for your relationship if you have one, and it's worth for your whole view of the world, I think.